Click it or ticket. That's the warning that the Monongalia County Sheriff's Department is issuing drivers. I'm Rob Gillespie, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you more. The National Safety Council says teens, commercial drivers, people who drive at night, as well as African Americans, are less likely to wear a seatbelt while driving than any other group.
Fire officials say it's important to have carbon monoxide alarms near each separate sleeping area, as well as on every level of your house. This alone could be the difference between life and death. Officials say the most important things fans should be aware of while attending games is knowing where the exits are. Not knowing these locations is the leading cause of injuries. Do you enjoy the nightlife? Well, I'm Rob Gillespie, and coming up this week on WVU News, I'll tell you ways that you can stay safe while enjoying the nightlife. Alleys like this are dangerous at night, so officials say you should go in a group or a pair when traveling. This alone can prevent your chances of becoming a victim by as much as 90%.
Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death among people between the ages of 18 and 34.
However, the Click It or Ticket campaign is aiming to decrease those numbers. WVU News reporter Rob Gillespie joins us in the studio with more.
Thank you, Andrew and Taylor. The primary enforcement safety belt law allows any West Virginia officer to pull over and issue a ticket if the driver or passengers are not buckled up. Monongalia County Police are expanding their seatbelt checkpoints through a new grant. I found out how these tighter inspections will improve safety within the county. The Sheriff's Department is using a $10,000 state grant to conduct off-duty seatbelt checks. In the first weeks, deputies wrote more than 200 citations. Drivers share their thoughts.
For the most part, police just be riding around looking for a reason. If you don't have your seatbelt on, that's a perfect reason.
The Sheriff's Office says so far this program has led to several misdemeanor and felony arrests.
Beside the seatbelt violations, we've issued texting violations, talking on cell phone violations, misdemeanor violations resulting in the stops, whether it be expired registration. We've even had a couple DUIs and a couple felony arrests for that.
Adults 18 to 34 are less likely to wear seatbelts than adults 35 or older.
Every time I get in the vehicle, I put my seatbelt on, gotta stay safe on the roads.
According to the National Safety Council, between 2004 and 2008, seatbelts saved more than 75,000 lives. The National Safety Council says teens, commercial drivers, people who drive at night, as well as African Americans, are less likely to wear a seatbelt while driving than any other group. The good news, according to the NSC, is in 2009, seatbelt use averaged 88% nationally, compared to 69% in 1998.
If you're just about to get out the car, you're going somewhere short distance, there's no point to wear your seatbelt.
Officials say seatbelts reduce serious crash-related injuries and death by as much as 50%. In the first couple of weeks, 84 seatbelt violations were issued. Motorists who are cited for not wearing a seatbelt could face a $25 fine. Andrew and Taylor, back to you. That's the sound that 33-year-old Jason Moats heard at 4:30 in the morning this past January. He jumped out of his bed and went into his living room. That's where Moats says he realized it was his carbon monoxide detector.
I immediately woke up and called the police and woke up my brother and the rest of my family and evacuated the house.
Moats says when he called 911 and reported the alarm, authorities issued him a stern warning.
Stay out of the house, so they called the gas company and they detected the leak.
Moats' brother recalls that night.
I'm glad he woke us up when we did, and I'm glad we had a CO2 alarm because we would have been dead.
Star City volunteer firefighter Lieutenant Gillespie explains why carbon monoxide is so deadly.
Once you start getting into your higher levels of 100 parts per million or higher, it's lethal within seconds to minutes.
Officials say carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete burning of fuels such as coal, wood, kerosene, and propane.
Fire officials say it's important to have carbon monoxide alarms near each separate sleeping area, as well as on every level of your house. This alone could be the difference between life and death.
I went out and purchased enough CO2 monitors to have one in each room in my house now.
Officials say besides tightness across chest, symptoms of poisoning may include headache, fatigue, and dizziness. Robert Gillespie, WVU News, Morgantown. The National Institute of Justice says a college with 10,000 students could experience as many as 350 rapes per year. WVU has 30,000 students. More than half are female. The university's assaults could exceed 500 annually. Just how safe do students feel on campus?
When you're by yourself or you get left alone, you get really nervous because you never really know what's going to happen out here.
Well, I live alone, so sometimes I do get a little nervous when I walk home.
Women are most vulnerable to rape during the first weeks of their freshman and sophomore years, but there are ways you can protect yourself.
Alleys like this are dangerous at night, so officials say you should go in a group or a pair when traveling. This alone can prevent your chances of becoming a victim by as much as 90%.
WVU Police Chief Bob Roberts says it's important to know where the Blue emergency phones are located and don't hesitate to use them.
Actually, 32 on campus now. They're set up so that if you're in an emergency situation or you need help, all you have to do is push the button. It notifies 911 and we're dispatched to that location.
I try to leave with friends or my boyfriend, and I never try to be alone anywhere.
Police say know your limits and communicate them clearly and firmly. Be aware of your surroundings and avoid secluded places, especially with someone you don't know well. Robert Gillespie, WVU News, Morgantown.